Hey, my guidance counselor told me to stop by this place. I'm trying to figure out what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm a senior and I have no idea what I'm supposed to do when I graduate high school.
Hi, welcome to Gear Up. Here are some tips to help you succeed.
I have no idea what to do or how to start. Where am I supposed to go and who am I supposed to talk to?
Well, here's some advice. First, you want to form a team so to know your teachers and your guidance counselors so they get to know you. At some point, you might need recommendations for summer programs, scholarships, interns, and college applications.
That sounds like a lot. How do I start to do that?
A great way is to stop by your school's guidance office and college and career center. Usually, they are called Gear Up or Talent Search. Check often for new information about workshops and scholarships opportunities. Know what days representatives from trade and technical schools, colleges, and universities or armed services will be doing any virtual visits.
Oh, that sounds pretty cool. So what are my options if I did do that? Once I talk to my guidance counselors, what am I looking at? Do I have to go to a four-year college or can I go to community college?
Great question. Well, these are some of your options: community college, trade vocational technical schools, 4 year college universities, or serve in the military.
Oh, so there are options. What's the difference between all of them? Because I've only heard people really just go to the four-year colleges. And a few people say community colleges, but they say that's for people that don't know what they're doing. So which one do you think I should do?
Well, that's another great question. Let me go through each one of them. Community college. Community colleges offer you a chance to taste college close to home, with the possibility of taking courses part time or moving easily from part time to full time and back. The students who go to community colleges tend to take out fewer loans and save on college costs.
Oh, so that's a cheaper option. So I don't have to go to a four-year, but I can start at a two-year college. Can I go to a four-year college or do I just stop there?
That is correct. You can start a community college and easily move or transfer to a 4 year college. So, your next choice or your next option is the trade or vocational technical schools. At a trade school, you can get a degree in fields like information technology, nursing, and health sciences, automotive technician training, and medical assistant. The program's length vary, but typically they can range from anywhere from 8 months to 2 years.
Oh, so like if I wanted to be like a mechanic or like a carpenter or a plumber, this is the type of school I would have to go to?
That is correct. Your next option will be a 4 year college or university. This is a bachelor's degree 4 year program where students or learners study a specific subject such as economics, biology, or communication. These degrees equip students with the skills and knowledge needed to pursue various careers. Graduates with a bachelor's degree can also pursue a graduate study.
Oh, okay, so this is what most people usually do, huh?
Yes. Your next option will be to serve in the military. Some students weighing their option after high school may view joining the military as an alternative to higher education or something to be done before considering a bachelor's degree.
Oh, so I did hear a few things that if you join the military, they will cover the cost of your tuition, if I did decide to go to school afterwards. Is that true?
That is correct. Military is one of the options if you want to do that right after high school. That is a good opportunity to explore different careers through their training and gaining some skills, and also potentially transferring to a 4 year or a community college.
All right, so what's my next step?
Your next step will be to create a plan. Usually, students will list your goals as your accomplishment, even if you haven't yet decided on a field of study. You will have to write down a list of academic and personal strengths and weaknesses, extracurricular activities, awards, grade point average or GPA, and your class rank, SAT, SATs, or APA scores. The next thing about and list the qualities they are looking for in college, career, or trade. Do they want to go away to school, stay close to home, or take online courses?
All right, that seems like a lot, but what's the way that I should pick? Like, what's my best option?
So the next option is to decide, you have to decide what's the best for you. So starting by thinking about yourself. What are your strengths, skills, areas of interest, and career expectations? What are your work values? Do you value independence in a job? Leadership opportunities, feelings of achievement or reward. Do you like to work with your hands? Do computers interest you? Are you a people person? What kind of work environment do you envision? Career One Stop offers a self assessment that measures your skills, interests, and values. This is a great place to start when you are considering a future career path.
Oh, so there's just like a website that I can answer a few questions and it'll tell me what my best interests are?
That is correct. By a click on Career One Stop, you're able to do a self assessment, and they usually go over what is the best option for you, the most inclined career or skills that you actually have.
All right, so that means I should start planning stuff once I see that assessment. It'll tell me what kind of job that I should or I would like to do.
That is correct. You start planning your career. So once you have identified a career field that interests you, the next step is to plan your career. The first step is to determine what kind of training or education is necessary for your job field, as well as to consider financial aid. Begin looking at the colleges or career training schools that offer programs in your field. Ask to speak with admissions officers and career development specialists to help make sure you're choosing a training program that is good fit for your goals.
All right, so I guess I should get started, huh? I just got to make sure my grades are right because I know I'm graduating, but I know that colleges look at still my senior year, so I should make sure that I keep my GPA up, right?
Exactly. That's why it's very important for you to take your studies seriously.
All right, well, finishing up high school I know can be an exciting time of my life, but it's filled with many choices, and it's my choice to make an important one to make sure that my future is super rewarding. Thank you very much for all this information.
Until next time. They usually go over what is the best option for you, the most inclined career or skills that you actually have.
All right, so that means I should start planning stuff once I see that assessment. It'll tell me what kind of job that I should or I would like to do.
That is correct. You start planning your career. So once you have identified a career field that interests you, the next step is to plan your career. The first step is to determine what kind of training or education is necessary for your job field, as well as to consider financial aid. Begin looking at the colleges or career training schools that offer programs in your field. Ask to speak with admissions officers and career development specialists to help make sure you're choosing a training program that is good fit for your goals.
All right, so I guess I should get started, huh? I just got to make sure my grades are right because I know I'm graduating, but I know that colleges look at still my senior year, so I should make sure that I keep my GPA up, right?
Exactly. That's why it's very important for you to take your studies seriously.
All right, well, finishing up high school I know can be an exciting time of my life, but it's filled with many choices, and it's my choice to make an important one to make sure that my future is super rewarding. Thank you very much for all this information.
Until next time.
All right, guys. So that was the sum up, as if you were to come meet with us physically. That's how a conversation would go with a student and an advisor. So we just wanted to give you guys at least to show you what your options were and how it all worked out. So, associate's degree, certificates, bachelor's degree, trade schools, military, are all those types of choices that you guys can do. And there's plenty more choices to come with that as well. So we just wanted to show you guys that. Now we want to hear from you guys, anything that you guys are working on now or need help with. I'm assuming everyone's seniors. So I know you guys should be starting to look at Common Apps. FAFSA's been open since October 1st. So you might want to start looking at that. And we're the people that can help you manage all of that. You don't want to wait to the last minute to try to pile everything together and get it all done because we know you have your studies to do. So that's why we're here as a resource. Um, just so that you can talk to us whenever you guys want to reach out to us, you can. Um, our information will be listed and we'll tag you guys on anything that we have for future references for any kind of resources that we might be giving you guys. So if anybody wants to jump in the chat or voice something that they're working on, some challenges, some resources that they might need, um, or if they just want to know more about us, let us know. We are on the call up until 11:15, so we can help you guys with anything you guys need. I just want to make sure that you guys have those type of options, resources, and exposure to figure out what you want to do. Oh,
Do you
can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, sir.
good. You just said in the chat they couldn't. Do you guys have any questions? We thought that having the first, actually the first seminar to introduce what are the options for you after high school, we thought it was a great idea just so you can start planning the future. And it seems like it's very it's like far, but it's really not far as the first once you complete your high school, you need to be able to have a little bit of understanding what are the options out there. So as you see, we have community colleges, we have universities, we have military, we have trade school, and we want you guys to be aware of those options right after high school. So it will be nice to hear from you guys what are if you already have some options in mind that we can actually help you um, understand some of the questions that you may have, as Steve mentioned this morning.
mm. And another thing, college is not for everyone. It's for some people. And just if you want to take a break in a gap year, make sure during your gap year you look at other options as well. I've learned that picking up a trade, regardless if you want to go to college or not, is always a good thing too. You don't want to just jump out of high school into the real world and not have a plan. And we're here to help you create that plan. So if college is not the best bet for you, let's see what other options you have. If college is the best bet for you, let's look at the financial aspects of that to make sure that you're doing what you got to do, you're on the right path, you got the right major, you know how long you're going to be in school, and you know how much money that's going to come. So with that being said, again, if you guys have questions, let us know. We're here for another 30 minutes just for your resource, a free resource that we're offering you guys every Monday with a little bit of knowledge in the beginning, and then you guys get to have your advisors at your fingertips for any questions or anything you want to know.
As we talk a little bit about the options in the video, we saw how community colleges work versus the universities. So community colleges are a very good choice if you want to actually start a very not an easy but a less invasive way of starting college. University levels 4 years are a little more like you have to really uh, be there present, and community colleges as well. But it's an option for you to start planning and building up those skills to transfer into a 4 year college. So having a understanding prior to graduation, it's essential for you guys to start planning your future. So we hope to hear from you guys. We were very excited today. We want to make it very interactive, so you ask questions as we are here live with you guys, and just ask as many questions as you have right now in mind. We would like to hear from you.
Yeah, so to Isaac, I see your question. Great question. So his question is, can he go to the community college and get prereqs and then transfer to another college? So that's a big way to save money is to go to a community college for 2 years and do any of your like general requirements, like your Englishes and all that, and then transfer to a 4 year school. So a lot of people take that route instead just to save money. They just do their simple general ed requirements at a local community college. They get to stay in their city. Sometimes they can still work, and then they'll transfer to a 4 year college. And then sometimes colleges will offer a transfer program if you keep a certain GPA that they'll help with tuition costs to transfer to that 4 years because they want to see you go and get higher education. So that's always a great step to do. I know in the past community colleges have been looked down on, but now financially, that's one of the upper things to do is to do that. It's a smart way to plan ahead. So that's smart that you are planning ahead. And then Jackie has a question: what if I want to do nursing school but don't have enough money for school? What are my options? Let's
So one of your options is definitely apply for FAFSA. I guess that so many people will feel that you have to pay for college, but FAFSA is one of the steps. So the first step that you have to right after or while are you in high school is that you have to apply for FAFSA. Once you apply for FAFSA, that will determine how much money is available for you. There are a lot of grants that is like kind of like the free money that that you will get, or there are loans as well. So the first step is just to determine how much money the FAFSA will give you as a student, and then you can actually figure things out. I know that nursing is a very demanding career and everybody wants to be in there, so it's a little competitive. So that means you have to start planning now. You're in high school, you have to plan with all your sciences and work along with your guidance counselor so she or he can actually start planning if that's your career of choice. But not having money is not a block in your career. There are a lot of options, there are scholarships, there is a lot of things that you can do while you're still in high school.
see. And to answer another question, when you transfer, do you transfer to the new school as a junior? Yes. So if you do your 2 years and you get the credits that you do need for your particular major or degree that you're shooting for, once you transfer, you're just a junior right when you join in. So it's not like you're behind anybody else. They probably wouldn't even notice you transitioning into that school to think that you came from a community college. All you needed to do was get your credits. You just did it a different way. Like we said, there's different routes for every type of career you want to do. There's different paths, there's different timelines. You guys just have to do what's best for you guys. But you do have to find those options as soon as possible so you can play around and see which one fits your schedule, fits your timeline, and fits your pockets.
And to add to that, Cartoon, once you transfer from a community college to a university, you have to also understand that if you're transferring, if you go to a community college and you took a certificate, there are certain amount of credits that you're actually taking while you do your certificate. So you have to be mindful that at community college, you can take a certificate or you can also graduate with an associate's degree. So if you graduate with an associate's degree at a community level, community college level, you transfer as a junior. If you have a certificate and you transfer to a community college, it will determine the amount of credits. So you most likely will have to be mindful of those two terms, whether it's a certificate or whether it's an associate's degree, which is given to you after you complete your 2 years of a community college.
Mhm. Awesome.
So the other question is, what about scholarships? Can you guys help me with that? Do I need to write an essay? So basically, we do help you finding out the scholarships, and also at Naviance. Naviance has a list of all the scholarships that you guys can go in and check out as a senior. So we will definitely, if the scholarship requires an essay, you'll start your essay and we will definitely bring it to Gear Up and we will help you read it and kind of like proofread it and give you a little bit of a better overview of an essay. But you have to start your essay and make sure that you get to Naviance and just visit once it's open, visit Gear Up or Talent Search center and make sure that they do have the most up-to-date scholarships out for you guys.
And then we have another question. Are state scholarships and grants transferable from a 2-year college to a 4-year college? So most scholarships and grants, it all depends on the scholarships and grants. Some grants are school-based when you're applying for FAFSA and you get a financial aid package. But you want to start with that financial aid, which is your FAFSA. And then that will be determined from the school what kind of grants you get from them. There's state grants that go to any higher education that you're going to, as well as scholarships. So it all depends on the scholarship. Most scholarships do just pertain to any educational institute that you're trying to apply for. But again, there's different scholarships during like state school scholarships versus private scholarships. It all depends on what you're applying for.
So we have another question that says, if we are thinking of taking a gap year, what do you suggest? Taking a gap year, it's not necessarily it's not gonna hurt you, because if you take a gap year, and for example, I want to be a medical assistant, and you happen to get a gap year, but you happen to find a job in a clinic where you have the ability to learn about medical assistant and to kind of like know the terms and everything involves that career, that is kind of like a little bit, it's giving you the exposure. So eventually when you go back to school, it's ideally for you to start right after high school, so you're fresh, you have all the energy. But if there are circumstances that will not allow you to actually start your college, the suggestion from Gear Up or from any advisor will be that kind of like try to engage with a job that it will eventually open up the doors for you to go back to school. But we really here at Gear Up at the guidance counselors will really love for you to start your school right away. And if it's not possible, then taking the gap year is it's something to look for the career that you eventually want to take. But ideally, we will want you to start your college career right after high school.
And if you do take a gap year, always be productive during that gap year. So if you're like, I'm definitely gonna take this time off, make sure I would suggest even just picking up a trade, learn a trade. Certificates are pretty short to obtain. So still look at a higher education. QCC has a lot of programs that, like a 6-month program to 8-month, that you can look at that might be cheaper, but at least do something productive. You don't want to get out of college, do that gap year, and that gap year turns into you not going back to get a higher education or whatever you wanted to do. That could become procrastinating. So you just want to make sure during that gap year you're being productive.
So the other question, is it true if you go to a community college, it's hard to transfer your college credits to another state college when you want to transfer? Absolutely, it's not hard. Again, if you finish your community college and you want to transfer all your credits, you will have to obviously get to your the university that of your choice. You have to talk to a academic advisor where they will check your credits and they will let you know what credits are going to be transferred. Many credits will not align with the career that you are actually applying to, so those credits most likely will not be transferred. So for example, I went to a community college. I graduated with my associates in liberal arts, and when I transferred to the university 4-year level, I went back to my academic advisor. They checked my credits and I was able to transfer most of my credits. So I only ended up taking 2 years for my bachelor's degree. So it's not that it's hard or not. You just have to make sure that the credits that you're transferring are in line with the career that you are applying to.
And I see the question about colleges I'm thinking about in Naviance, and I notice when your income goes up in a public state colleges, your tuition goes up, but in private universities, when your income increases, your tuition decreases. Why is that? I would have to double check on that, just to see what you're looking at and where that price range is going fluctuating. But when you do your FAFSA, that's how they're going to determine how much aid you do get. So I don't know if you guys have started preparing for your FAFSA. If you guys need help, let us know. But depending on if the school is private, depending on if the school is public, will all determine what you have to do. when you do apply to private schools, they'll have you actually do another type of FAFSA document called the CSS profile that you'll have to fill out. And that still will help determine how much financial aid you do get. So there is a little separate. Some schools do require the CSS profile and the FAFSA, while others just need the FAFSA. So just make sure you get on that. Like I said, FAFSA has been open since October 1st. If you need help, you can reach out to any of your advisors. And let us know if we missed your question, because we're going through the chat and we got a lot of names in there. So we're just making sure we answer as many questions as we can. You could always unmute and let us know as well. How do we get the FAFSA form and or CSS?
Yeah, the CSS profile.
Yep. So if you just Google FAFSA, it'll be right there for you. You will need your parent and guardian's information as well. You guys will have a seminar on that actually, well, webinar, I should say. That'll explain everything, as well as you can reach out to us and we'll help you get on that. You want to explain the CSS profile?
So the CSS profile is a form that is similar to the FAFSA. It's just a little bit of more oriented towards individual, like the student. So that will determine how much money each student has. So it's a little more in depth. FAFSA, it requires information to determine how much money you can get for a certain college. The CSS profile, it's more in depth. So that requires from parents, so if you have a mom, a dad, or if your mom and dad remarry, so it will require the financial statements from all people in your family, so all parents. So it's a little more, it requires a little more of information, so it will determine exactly if the student really needs a lot more money. So FAFSA, it's different from that. It will just CSS profile, it's a lot more information that we have to provide, so the colleges can grant more money to the student if the need is there.
And just to keep you guys updated, so today is basically open up our webinar. So I'm glad you guys are answering these great questions. We're seeing what you guys really need from us. So as the weeks progress, we'll go over everything that you're pretty much asking. We'll go over FAFSA, we'll go over the Common App, we'll go over CSS profile. But we just need to know what you guys need. So that's just great that you guys are asking these questions. They're awesome. Because since we don't get to see you guys every day, we don't know where you're at with everything. We don't know if you started your FAFSA, if you finished your FAFSA, if you're stuck in the middle of it, if you don't even know what a FAFSA is. So that's why we're trying to do these webinars every Monday, to see where you guys are at and to make sure that we can help you guys get to where you need to be.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah.
So every Monday we will have a seminar with different kind of topics, like we're gonna be talking about the introduction to financial aid and CSS profile and many others. So we're glad that you're here, because we thought that today was going to be an opportunity to know you guys, to answer all your questions, and to start with the options, because we thought that it was important for you guys as a student to have a better understanding of what options you guys have there. Now that you're going to start creating your plan, now it will be so much easier to learn about FAFSA, to learn about CSS profile, and to learn about many other things, and keep just keep bringing your questions, and we hope to one day see you in person as we all return back to school.
How does the recommendation thing work from like teachers through Navion?
What can you explain a little more what you mean by how long does it work?
No, because like I asked one of the teachers for a recommendation like letter, and then she said she doesn't know how to send it through like Navion and like stuff like.
Are you asking one of your teachers or like a guidance counselor? So they should. I would have to, if Miss Becker is listening, because what school are you at actually?
Yes, I am.
So if he's trying to reach out to
Is he at North?
yeah, that's what I was just about to ask, just in case.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. If you want, I can answer that.
Yes, please.
Okay, so who was your English teacher?
I asked my like art teacher for a recommendation letter.
Right, but so who's your English? It's Miss Mulcahy, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because she I'm gonna meet with her, But who's your English teacher?
Mr. Honsander.
Did you guys, you got a presentation from guidance, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the way it works at North High. I know that some of you are at different schools, so it might be different at other schools, but what happens at North High is you complete your North High School senior questionnaire on Naviance. And then after that, you have to email or speak to 2 academic teachers and ask them for recommendations. And then you go on to Naviance and you request them on Naviance. And after you request them, your North High School senior questionnaire automatically gets sent to them. Did that answer your question?
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. Did you request your teachers yet?
I asked him like personally. I didn't like request like.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, perfect. So you want to ask them personally, 100% you want that touch, and then you also have to go onto Naviance and request them through Naviance as well, so they can see your questionnaire and they can submit your recommendation letter. That's how they submit it, and then it goes to all your colleges.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Do you need help with submitting that?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, tomorrow morning, can you go on to 12th grade Google Classroom and I'll help you with that?
Yeah.
So you know how we have office hours from 7:20 to 8:40, correct?
Yeah.
All right, so and you already are on the classroom, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Still.
perfect. You're on it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, go on tomorrow morning and I'll go on and I'm gonna have you share your screen with me and I'll show you how to do it.
Okay. Wait. Tomorrow. What time?
Tomorrow so I would go on where they're between 7:20 and 8:30. So we have it every Tuesday, Thursday.
Okay. Okay.
All right, thank you, Ms. Becker.
Perfect, no problem. And any senior from North High that needs us to help them, I'll be in the senior classroom tomorrow from 7:20 to 8:40. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. So again, this is a great way for you guys to get the resources and ask the questions that you guys need. You can always chime in and out. I'm glad to see everyone. I think we're up to like over 50 kids has shown up on this Monday morning in between classes. So we appreciate you guys for that. And do you guys have any more questions? How is hybrid going to work for Noah?
Okay, Isaac, I think that's probably a good question for your guidance counselor.
Yeah, later
As
on.
we basically trying to do the options for after high school, we might not have that information right in front of us. So that would be a good question for your guidance counselor.
But as for now, virtually, this is our best bet that we're gonna help you guys. Like we said, you can meet with any of you. You can reach out to any of us. We'll put our emails in the chat, or you can talk to any of your guidance counselors or any academic advisors that you have at your schools, because I know you guys are at different schools, and ask these type of questions, because we can't see you guys on a normal basis. So like I said prior, we don't know where you're at with everything. So if you let us know, then we can help you figure that out. Any other questions for us?
There was a problem with my father's retirement.
All right. What school do you go to?
Matias?
Matias.
Matias, what school do you go?
Burncoat High.
Where was it? Oh, Burncoat. Okay.
Burncoat High.
That would be just more of a thing that we probably would need to sit with you and figure out where you're at with everything. So you'd have to either reach out to one of your guidance counselors or your academic advisors at your school. Just because I can't really tell off of that, like what the issues going on in the CSS profile. I would have to see it myself.
Yeah.
But it does get a little lengthy. So that makes sense.
Yeah, and you can also at Burncoat Hall, we have Miss Sharon, correct me if I'm yeah. So Miss Sharon is at Burncoat High, and she can also help you with that. And she's the talent search advisor. So we might probably be able to put it on the chat for you, so you can send her an email. But we're also here to help you if you were to need the help. Can you put her email on the chat.
Yeah, we'll put her email in the chat for you
Thank
as
you.
well.
We have any other questions? Anything that you guys, any burning questions that you really want to know? Something that you probably, want to know from a long time? We're here, we're live, which is good. So someone asked, besides scholarships and FAFSA, what other choices do we have in applying for financial support? So basically, FAFSA is the first choice that we want the students to apply. Obviously, finding a scholarships is also another option, and filling out the CSS profile. What it will determine if the student will need more money, and basically the grants that the FAFSA provides to the students. It's another choice, and
Loans.
and basically the next one is just to apply for a loan. So if the money that you receive is not enough for you, then the next option will be to getting a loan. So those are the things that we have to determine. This is based on individuals. It's not like all the students will get a loan or all the students will get this much. So that is it based on it differs from individuals, from students to students. So it has to be determined with one of the academic advisors or one of us advisors or your guidance counselors. But the first step is to fill out your FAFSA, which, as Steve mentioned, it already opened October 1st. So we urge you guys to start, reaching out to us so we can start the process of filling the FAFSA out.
And keep the questions coming. You guys are asking great questions. How long did, all right, so if you are from North High, we have a prep sheet that we might can put and share with other schools that have the information that you're gonna need for the FAFSA. If you have all of that filled out and all the information from your parent, I would say it takes 30 minutes. It takes 30 minutes, no hiccups or anything. But now that you guys are at home and with your parent or guardian or caregiver, you guys can sit down and do it together. It might be a little quicker because you don't have to ask questions. You don't have to go back and forth like when you were in school if we didn't have that information. So I would say start it. It does save as you go. So it's not like once you sit down, you got to finish it. So you can just start it, make sure you save it. And then as you get the information you need, you just fill that out. The CSS profile, on the other hand, takes a little longer. It's more in depth. You need more information from your parent or guardian or caregiver. So if you are planning that, you want to look into that on College Board and see what kind of financial statements you might need, as well as what kind of information you'll need from both parents or guardian or caregiver. That one is a little more in depth, so it takes a little longer.
Someone is asking, when is the right time to visit college campus? Guess what? Now is the right time. This is the time. Unfortunately, we cannot actually do it in person because of COVID, but there are a lot of virtual tours going on, and we also offer that on Fridays. So if you want to be part of those college tours, you can reach out to us again, and we can invite you guys. And there is also a way of doing those tours through Navian. So you guys have a lot of resources and you have a lot of things, information that you can actually access. And it's a great time to start doing now. And again, knowing your options and visiting colleges earlier will really make it easier for you guys to start planning your future career. So reach out to us. We can invite you guys on our Friday tours or visit your Navian's page for those tours as well.
And then we have a question: does early action give you a better chance of getting into college than regular or rolling admissions? I would say the people that do an early action, they're being more proactive. Just they already have their idea of where they want to go, so they apply a little sooner. It doesn't give them a better chance of getting into the school. It just gives them a faster answer, I would say. So if their grades are where they want to be and they have all their recommendations ready, and they filled out the application, they've done what they needed to do, they will apply for early action. And then for regular admissions, everybody still has a fighting chance. because you can get denied, you can get into schools on either decision. So you just want to look at that. So if you're ready for the stuff and you're proactive and you're like, I already have what school I want to go to, I filled out my FAFSA, I've done my Common App, I've done my CSS profile, I'm applying to this school, then you can do early action if they offer it. But if you're just going with the motions and doing what you got to do still, it's taking you just a little longer. Then you could just apply for regular admissions.
Those are great questions. Thank you.
Awesome questions.
Any other questions? Any other you guys have any feedback, anything that you want to share with us? We're here.
Or let us know what you want to see in the future or what you don't want to see in the future type of thing. Do you want it more lengthy? Do you want it more of a like this question and answer type thing in the chat box? Because this is working pretty well now. Thank you, Jackie. That's what we got to hear from you guys, or we're just going to be putting together things that we think you guys want. But if you know what you guys want, let us know, because we'll work around it. But like we said, we're a resource. Every Monday, it'll be a different subject. This one is just opening up the doors just to see what you guys need, and then we're going to go from here. So this was more informal, just to see who was going to show up today, who needs what. So we're here for you guys.
And next Monday, the presentation will be on college admissions. So that's another great opportunity for you guys to be to know exactly what colleges are looking for. And we're gonna be touching a little bit about the CSS profile and the FAFSA, all the requirements to be admitted to college. So I think that will be another great opportunity for you guys to start planning. Now that you know what your options are, now the next step will be college admissions, and that's something that you can actually come back again and see us next Monday and ask as many questions as you guys did today.
Yep, and it'll be different advisors every Monday, so you'll get a different dose of a lot of information from different people. So you definitely want to check in every Monday to see who's who. And then you'll meet all the advisors across Worcester pretty much. Today you're meeting with me and Zochi from North High. So next week, I'm not sure. It might be another North High advisor, but
That is correct.
Oh, I got a question.
yeah.
Yes.
Oh, so like I was told that this year SATs don't matter, but like how about if you take it and after you get like a bad score, could colleges still see it, or like is it like your choice if they could see it or not?
So I don't want to say that they don't matter. I want to say a lot of the colleges are doing SAT optional, which means you can do it or you could do it or you could send in your scores or not. When you take in the test, you could take it as many times as you want. So say you take it twice. You bombed it the first time and then you took it again and then you got a decent score. The way that you do is they'll send your highest score. So they won't see it. And they don't send it unless you say, I want to send it. So a lot of people use the SATs as, because what it is you have a GPA and then you have the SAT scores, which is what they look at academically. So sometimes when your GPA is not as strong as you want it to be, sometimes your SAT score might be stronger. So then both of them together make your academic years in high school look a little better. So you send them both. Sometimes if you know your GPA is where it should be, and the school is SAT optional, you like, I'm not really worried about the SATs because my GPA shows for itself. Others might ace the SATs and be like, my GPA is not that great, but with this SAT score and my GPA, this will make me look better on paper. Because what you're thinking about is everything that they're looking at is you're on your Common App or your college application. So you want to make yourself look the best you can be. You wouldn't put a bad SAT score, like I said, if it's not as good as you want it, you could take it again. But you don't have to submit it unless the school requires SAT scores. Some do, some don't. You want to check.
I'm going to be talking about that. This is Miss Rochelle here, and I'm going to be talking about that next week.
Perfect.
Almost every college in Massachusetts that I know of is SAT optional this year because of COVID. A lot of people could not access taking the SAT. When they say it's SAT optional, it truly is SAT optional. So if you took it and you didn't do well, don't send it in. If you had a chance to take it and you did really well, you can. Yeah. But if you didn't take it, don't worry about it. Almost every single college, Harvard, MIT, the big ones, SAT optional. They're not requiring it and it's not going to go against you. And all the state schools, SAT optional. Some of them are SAT blind, meaning that if you send it in, they're not even going to look at it. So that's something to stop worrying about. I am a mother of a senior this year, and I told them to stop worrying about that. Instead, spend your time working on your college essay, and we're going to talk about a lot of that next week. Sorry to.
That's okay. So if you do have
Thank
the
you so
option
much.
of taking it, like you said, tests are optional, so it all just depends on where you feel your academic weight is. I know North High and a couple other schools are doing SAT, so if you had a chance to do that and you want to just take it to see how it is, you definitely can do that. Like I said, it's options. Schools are optional, so that means you decide whether you want to send it or not. But I do want to make sure, I don't want to say they don't matter, but they are optional. So just check on the school that you're applying to and see what their requirements are. Like Ms. Rochelle said, most of the schools that she has seen have went test optional, but that still does mean that they will take it if you have a good grade or not. So if you have access to taking the SATs, which I know is pretty hard during COVID, it's hard to access SATs, so that's why they understand that. But I know, like I said, North High is still doing SATs limited. So if you guys do get a chance to do that, reach out to your guidance counselors and see if that is an option for you. Great questions again. We got about 10 more minutes. So if you guys have any more questions,
Send it our way.
yeah. And then if you have questions that you think about later, our emails are there. We do have a Google Classroom for our 12th grade seniors that go to North. You can reach out to us as well. If you need that link, let us know.
And I think next Monday will be very interesting to know the college admission process. So we hope to see all of you guys back again, as it will be as interactive as today. Bring your questions and as you guys, is it test optional, not optional? Those are great questions, and most likely we know that you guys have some kind of concerns about going to school because of COVID, or we don't know what's going to happen. But we hope that these kind of very interactive seminars will help you minimize that anxiety, and help you to actually determine next year, what are the best options for you guys.
Mhm. And especially now with the remote virtual learning, you want to look at how schools are handling COVID, how schools are handling working remote. You want to check on that, especially now that a lot of the schools, hopefully COVID will be over by the time you guys graduate and go on to school. But just have that in the back of your head. How is their remote teaching? How is their remote learning? What their GPAs and class sizes and I don't know what you want to say, like how they teach virtually, I want to say, in a sense, with the school that you're going to. Is it harder? Is it easier? Are the teachers more accessible? Are the professors less accessible? You want to check on that type of stuff, because now you're going to be investing into their school next year. So they're having a little, they're learning how to roll with the punches now. So they have a little time for you to check out the schools and see what your options are. So just look for that kind of stuff. I would do. Any last remaining questions, guys?
Any questions, any comments, anything that you guys will share with us?
Yeah, and then we'll be here again next Monday. Different feel. It'll be college admissions, as Ms. Rochelle said. So they'll talk about requirements, GPAs, all that, SAT requirements, what's required, what's not required. But again, you guys are the ones ultimately choosing, so do your research as well. And they asked her, is a 3.0 GPA good? I would say it's a pretty decent GPA. Again, you want to look at the schools you're looking at. It depends on how competitive the schools are. If you're going to those schools that are very competitive, sometimes they want a 3 point something. And if they're going to a school that's not too competitive, then that 3.0 might be just perfect for you to get into that. So you just want to weigh what schools are looking at. They will show it on their requirements. You just search up the school. It'll say what their average GPA is for incoming freshmen, and then you can base it around that. But a 3.0 is a good start. there's no problem increasing that. So I would say do that. The higher the GPA, the more options you'll have. So just keep building on that. Same thing for anybody with GPAs. The higher, the better, obviously, the more options you have. Just because your GPA is not the greatest doesn't mean you have no options, but you just want to build upon that.
Yeah. Great questions. Would you like to ask any other questions? Any other comments? Any feedback? Anything that you think that we should just touch upon or improve? Let us know. We really appreciate your feedback as a student. We want to make it as interactive for you guys as possible, and we really appreciate that. Do you recommend living on
I
campus?
recommend living on campus, depending on your price points. That's again, you want to look to see what financially fits your budget. And then with this COVID, I know a lot of schools have just went strictly remote, so
Yeah.
they don't even have that living on campus option. So that does save a lot of money, but a lot of people don't want to stay home, which we get that.
Yeah.
So you wanna look at your options. I would recommend it if you can afford it. If you got your scholarships and all that, yes. For that's just my take on it. But it's not needed. Education is going to be education whether you're on campus or off campus. So if you think that you want to live off campus, that's cool just as much as you live on campus.
Yeah.
Do we need specific volunteer hours? There's no specific volunteer hours that colleges are looking for, but colleges are looking for extracurriculars, volunteerism,
Yeah.
all those type of things. Because, like I said, they're only looking at the paper. They don't get to come and meet you. They don't have a walk-in interview and where you get to explain yourself. You're explaining yourself on that application. So if you are doing extra stuff in the community, if you are volunteering your time and effort, they're going to look at that and your GPA and your other scores and your other extracurriculars. And then they'll balance out if you're a good fit for their school. So doing that kind of stuff is great, especially if you're involved in your community. They want people like that in their college. They want to invest in kids that they know will come to their campus and do the same type of work that they did back in high school.
Yep.
So the more you do, again, the more you look better on paper. Great question, by the way.
Yeah, very good question. We're almost coming to our end here, and we will want to welcome more questions if you guys have any before we before until next Monday, right? So any other questions, any other feedback, anything that you guys want to share with us? We're here, and we're very happy and excited about how many students showed up today. We're really appreciative of your timing, as we know it's very precious. No, okay. I guess there's no more questions. Any other questions? Last call.
Yeah, we'll be on till 11:15, so you guys are good to go. Get your stretches in before you get into your next class. Do we look for scholarships? Uh, so you can do it on your own. You can reach out to us to ask us what we know about what scholarships are open. You do want to look locally, I would say first. Look for the local scholarships. The national ones are great. They have great money, but you got to think about how many people are competing for those type of scholarships versus the small local Worcester scholarships. There's a lot Western Mass scholarships, those type of things, Massachusetts scholarships, rather than doing a whole American scholarship where everyone from across the nation can apply for. I'm not saying don't apply for it, but I'm just saying that's more competitive out there. So you want to do that.
And with the scholarship, we also have to be mindful about the due date. They usually have a due date. So if you don't apply within that time, most likely your application will not be processed. So you have to make sure that when you look for a scholarship, you need to find out the date. So usually you have to write an essay and you have to send some documentation. So make sure that you guys are aware of the due date before it has to be. They will usually tell you when it has to be postmarked. So it's like, you have to be aware on that on scholarship. But you can look through Navians again, through the National Scholarship website, and you can always ask us. Usually we get scholarship information. I think the key here is to do it within that frame time, so you get the better option of getting the award.
Mm-hmm. And then we have another question. Maximum amount you can get from FAFSA. So with FAFSA, what you're doing is you're filling out a whole financial aid report, basically that sends to the schools that you're applying to. So say I apply to Worcester State, I do my FAFSA, it gets sent over there to them. Then Worcester State will put together a financial package that will explain how much that they're willing to give me if I come to their college. So that's when you apply. So if I apply to 3 colleges, I would see how much each colleges is offering, because each financial aid package will be different. Some will give you a lot, some will give you a little, some might not give you any, and you're like, oh, I can't really go here if you're not working with me. So that's when you're applying to different colleges. You need to do your FAFSA, make sure you send them out to the schools that you are applying to, and then you guys get to weigh out how much each school is giving you. So I can't really say there's a maximum or a minimum.
Yeah.
It all depends on what the school has to offer. So that's when you got your college list. If you got 5 schools and you apply to those 5, you'll get the 5 packages back, and it'll say this school is giving me this much, this school, and then you start weighing them out. You're like, this school is giving me way more than this school. This wasn't first on my list, but it's first on my list now financially, so I'm going that route.
Okay,
Can we
there.
send a research paper with our college app?
Application.
It all depends on the research paper. Sometimes
Yeah.
the applications might say any other information that you want to do if you're applying for a certain program that might ask for some kind of your work. Because I know, like, if you go to school for art, sometimes they'll ask for a portfolio.
Yeah.
So if it's something like that, because what you got to remember is they're looking at a lot of applications. So they're not going to look for extra stuff that they didn't ask for. They're going to have requirements of what they need to look at versus
Yeah.
the extra stuff that you're sending with your thing.
So basically, when you send your essay, not a research paper, to your college app, you basically you want to be able to sell yourself to the college, and you want to be looking good on paper, because they don't know you yet, right? Until they give you an interview, if that's the case. A research paper is differently from an essay, where you, on an essay you really write down about why you are the best candidate for that school. Research paper might be oriented to one particular topic, as Steve mentioned. So again, it will depend on what the school is looking for. So it's always important for you guys to read about what the colleges are looking for, and that's what we're going to be touching upon next Monday, college admissions. And you're going to learn about all essays, all college preparation and admissions. So I think that will be something good for you guys to come back next Monday and hear Ms. Rachel all her little tips for college admissions.
Yep. So we are down to 11:15. I think you guys have class soon, I'm assuming. I do want to thank you guys again for coming through, sitting with us for a good hour. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you learned a lot, and I hope to see you back here Monday. No problem.
Thank you. Gracias. We'll see you next Monday.
And if you're from North, join our Google Classroom.
Yes.